Hey, thanks for being here. Why is 2027 so different that you think you have an opportunity to win?
Well, look, I always win. The reason why we always win is because we do it from the heart. We spend our own money. We help the people sincerely from the bottom of our heart. We understand business, but crime, business, affordability, all those particular things. It'll be a sin for me not to get in the race with all this stuff going on now.
Affordability is a big issue here.
Yes.
We've got the incumbent Mayor Brandon Johnson, who hasn't officially announced whether or not he's going to run next year. Where do you think he's missed the mark?
Communication with the people. I think he's been a mayor for the Chicago Teacher Union leadership, that is. Versus he should be a mayor for all citizens. I think he focused too much on that. I think he put the, and I say illegal immigrant ahead of the citizen of Chicago. I think that went off to the left, because you got millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars spent there, then try to raise taxes on the people who lose their homes and things. And I think that's backfired on him there. And the other thing, he has to be more pro-business. Pro-business, like, look, if you're not pro-business, you can't create jobs. You're not pro-business, that means you're not pro-community. Because pro-business create jobs, mean more for the community. You cannot raise head taxes on businesses. They move out. Why can't Chicago balance its budget like Indiana, Texas, Florida? So what is going on here? And if you're not pro-business, then you're not. How are you going to survive? So I think he missed his point on that. I think he's been unfriendly to business. And you have to also understand this: you cannot have everything your own way. You have to communicate with the people. You got to communicate with everybody. You got to compromise, because each community, 77 communities in Chicago, I believe it's 78 now. Each one of those communities is different. Downtown is different than Lawndale. Lawndale is different, maybe up north. So each one of them got their own special problem. So it represents 50 wards in the city of Chicago. Each one of them wards want to bring stuff back to their community. The failure of communication and understanding that Chicago is different, you got to compromise. It can't be just one way.
You mentioned that you were not for the millionaire's tax. You've been a successful businessman for years. You do the gas giveaways and everything. So should Chicago be run like a business? Because after all, there's still some things that we have to pay for, like the pensions, police and fire salaries. Is there a way to cut? I mean, what are we missing here?
Well, what you're missing here is unfriendly to business, number one. Chicago is a place, it is a business. If you got no business in the city of Chicago, you got no community. It become a result where wealthy people just go and have fun and spend money, all right? So if Chicago made a mix-up of Southern people, different nationality, different people with different ideas, and so when you cut off that particular business, that's what happened. Now, people leave from Chicago and shop in Indiana, lower gas. People in Chicago are tired of paying 36% parking taxes. People in Chicago is tired of getting tickets for booths on their cars and everything else, right? So why would you put a mayor or somebody in those predicting that office to real estate taxes go up on you? Parking ticket goes up on you? All those things to run people out, And then the other thing is also is that, look, I pay for my own way. You got other candidates in the mayor, in the office to run for mayor in the office today, who is running with 2 jobs. How can you gonna run for one job and run other one? You can't serve 2 masters.
Right, you're criticizing Alexi Giannoulias because he's still running for his current office and he's still also running for mayor.
And so why take the taxpayer dollars? I pay a lot of taxes. I don't want to finance his campaign. So why would you do that? He's a wealthy man, you know. So don't try to fool the people. As those things say, you can fool some of the people all the time, some not so much. But so when you do that, it's a lack of principle, integrity. People want somebody they can believe in, they can see who is honest with them. And so I just think that, look, don't be bought. Here's a different thing. I'm not bought. You can't buy me. The people who is bought, they got to answer to the special interest group, right? I would answer to the city of Chicago because I don't want a penny, right? So the Chicago got a big question to face and ask. Do you want a person who is bought? Or do you want a person not bought? Do you want a person who understands business and the balanced budget, that have balanced the budget within their own company? Or you want a person who want to balance the budget off the taxpayer dollars?
You bring up a good point about independence because you even broke away from the Democratic Party, even though you were a man who represented the Democratic Party. You were part of that. But because of that independence, do you feel like that could hurt you, though? Because after all, in Chicago, they say if you have certain unions behind you, you might get elected mayor of Chicago or any other office if you have certain unions behind you. If you don't have unions behind you, could that potentially hurt you?
I would not be bought or dictate from nobody, union, anybody. I will only do what the people would like me to do. You gotta understand, I'm not running for money. So why would I want to do that? Plus, I'm from the Jim Crow days down in Louisiana, and I ain't going back there no more.
I wanted to get your take on criminal justice, policing, public safety, because we've seen the teen takeovers, we've seen the street takeovers, and even though statistically in the city of Chicago, crime overall has gone down, there are these events where people look at them and say, I don't feel safe. What is your message to the people of Chicago when it comes to how you would change things up when it comes to public safety if you're elected mayor?
It ain't if. I'm going to be elected.
That confident, huh?
Yeah.
So what's your message then when it comes to public safety?
My message this year, you would bring people back like the superintendent, which left his job, right? That's the one. The other one, I would put 4 superintendents of police, one on the west side, north side, south side, and east side. Those particular people would answer direct to me. 4 superintendents in the city of Chicago, each can do their job with that particular district. If you got 50 aldermen representing Chicago, how are you going to have one superintendent of police representing 50 wards out here like the aldermen? You need that support base there. Otherwise, I will hold the young men and young ladies who are trying to take over the town, et cetera, and they must be held accountable for, right? We would offer job opportunity, empowerment, those type of things. But the thing about it is I hold a lot of this responsibility on the Chicago Teachers Union. Why? Because they let these kids pass from 1 grade to the 8th grade and don't even know how to read and write. What that do? They pipeline back to prison. And I hold the Chicago Teachers Union, not all of them, but the leadership, accountable. If you're going to produce a product that is not right, and just for the sake of money, and then they're getting the mayor to support them with all these dollars, and nobody graduating. I mean, that's what happened to this gains thing. People don't want handout. You got to produce the opportunity. I would have trade from 1st grade to 12th grade in each school before you can pass, take a trade. I'll put guidelines there that you cannot pass unless you know how to read and write. I will put trade within the Cook County jail prison so when you get out of jail, that you can have a job and you can recycle back into the society without recycling back into the jail. Because crime come back even when you get out of jail, don't have a job, just recycle back into that, all right? I would make opportunity available that when those particular young men, young ladies get out of school, before they get out of school because of those trade, they have a job waiting on them. And I will communicate on a monthly basis with the major corporation or quarterly basis to give me ideas to help the major corporation. So those things would take and help get it down. You know, the cost. You got to bring new business in, and then your tax base goes down. You got to stop the people from going to Indiana or these places buying over there. Let them buy in Chicago. Well, how you do that? You lower those taxes, all right? The way you're going right now, you raise taxes. That's not balancing budget, you know? So anybody who thinks that way and do that is missing it. I have experience in business. You know, I understand business. I have a worldwide business that makes sense, that balances the budget, and I would take those young men and young ladies, not only know how to do business just in Chicago, but learn how to do business internationally too. To China, Australia, around the world, Vietnam, all these other places that people buy, major corporations buy their product from. If you don't get into that cycle and don't get a chance to just focus on Chicago, you got to have diversify your whole situation that you can stay in business. Teach kids how to do business, teach them how to do stock market, how to work on those particular things, you know? And everything else, got economic empowerment, the community began to take, then have legs of their own and wings of their own, and then stop their crime. And I will come out, make it a business, let those young men and young ladies come downtown and talk to me. I'll go out to their school, I'll visit them.
And one final question, since you mentioned schools. Chicago Public Schools is under a financial crisis. Do you feel that some schools need to close in order to balance the budget, given the enrollment drop?
Yes. The reason why? If you got a school hold 1,000 people, using that for example, and you only got 100 students there, it don't make sense. This is why business comes in that you got to understand. If you're buying grocery and paying $500 a month for groceries to eat, and you only got $100, you're going to have to make some adjustment. You will work with the union to let you common sense. Our young men and young ladies is at risk here, and we have to stop it. It ain't just about the black or brown community, it is also about the white community. I would be a mayor for every single citizen.
Dr. Willie Wilson, that's where we're going to leave it tonight, sir.
All right.
All right, thank you for being here, and we'll be right back.